The Palestinian president has launched a renewed bid to end Israel's occupation of the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, Mahmoud Abbas called on the UN to set a new timetable for Israel to withdraw from the occupied land. From New York, our diplomatic editor, James Bays, reports.
Mahmoud Abbas about to make one of his strongest speeches in a decade as the Palestinian president. Addressing the United Nations after a war in Gaza in which more than 2,000 Palestinians, many of them women and children, have been killed. He talked of absolute war crimes and compared with previous conflicts in the territory, he described the scale this time as a genocidal crime.
Here we find ourselves full of grief, regret, and bitterness, raising the same long-standing conclusions and questions after a new war, the third war waged by the racist occupying state in 5 years against Gaza, this small, densely populated, and precious part of our country.
Because of a Jewish holiday, there was no one in Israel's seats in the hall to hear him say that in peace negotiations earlier this year, Israel had failed the test of peace.
The future proposed by the Israeli government for the Palestinian people is at best isolated ghettos for Palestinians on fragmented lands, without borders and without sovereignty over its airspace, water, and natural resources, which will be under the subjugation of the racist settlers and army of occupation, and at worst will be the most abhorrent form of apartheid.
President Abbas has come up with a new proposal. He wants negotiations to start straight away on a new Security Council resolution. He wants that resolution to outline a specific timeline for the end of the Israeli occupation and the creation of a two-state solution. And once that timeline's in place, he wants the immediate resumption of peace talks between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
وشكرا جزيلا لكم.
In the hall of the General Assembly, President Abbas received a great deal of applause, but getting support for his proposal in the other major chamber of the United Nations, the Security Council, will be much more difficult. There, Israel can almost always count on the support of its ally, the US, one of the 5 countries that have the power to veto any resolution. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.